Hallo Miners, welcome back. Today we are going to take a deck that dodged the most recent ban and restricted announcement and see if leaving this deck alone was a mistake. We are playing Oops All Spells today. So there's been a lot of talk in the community about the rise of Oops and the prevalence of it, and quite a few prominent names have been saying that something from this deck needs to be banned. I have seen Undercity Informer and Balustrade Spy named as cards that need to be banned out of this deck. I've heard some people saying just nuke this entire Thassa's Oracle strategy between this and the Cephalid Breakfast test by banning Thassa's Oracle itself. But nothing got touched in this deck at the ban announcement. It was on their radar, and they named it as something they're going to keep an eye on. But let's see if they made a mistake by not touching this deck at all. So the deck has evolved quite a bit and gotten quite a bit stronger with the increase in the MDFC lands, making the mana base much more consistent with this deck. This version of the deck also kind of has a bit of added resiliency as well in the sideboard, which we'll get to here in a moment. But the main game plan of this deck is basically just to get out a Undercity Informer or a Balustrade Spy as quickly as possible with fast mana and your MDFCs. Flip your entire deck into your graveyard, and then reanimate a Thassa's Oracle with the help of Dread Return to be able to win the game, because you will have no cards left in your library when the Thassa's Oracle trigger resolves. This version is a little bit different than some of the previous ones that were playing a full 4 Narcomoebas. This is actually relying on Poxwalkers as its sacrifice fodder instead. But you may be wondering, how do you get the Poxwalkers back? They don't just come back on their own the way Narcomoeba does. So we do have a single Narcomoeba to be able to come back. The plan is get that Narcomoeba onto the battlefield after it's been milled into your graveyard, sacrifice it to Cabal Therapy to make sure that the way for the combo is clear. By casting Cabal Therapy from your graveyard is going to trigger the Poxwalkers to come back onto the battlefield, and that's how you get your Poxwalkers on the battlefield to be able to cast your Dread Return. Target Thassa's Oracle, win the game because you have 0 cards in your library. This also has its traditional Juke plan main decked as well in the form of Goblin Charbelcher. Because you have no actual lands, as long as you have at least 20 cards left in your library when you activate Goblin Charbelcher, you're going to kill your opponent unless they gained life somehow. But a lot of these decks have had that as the sideboard plan to juke into, but this particular deck is actually running that main, so you have both of those combos in the main deck. Moving over to the sideboard, there's actually kind of a cool package here for added resiliency with another Thassa's Oracle, a Lotleth Giant, 2 more Dread Returns, and another Jack-o'-lantern. This is basically just to hedge your bets and make it so that a single piece of graveyard hate, such as a Fairy Macabre or a Surgical Extraction, will not stop you from being able to execute your game plan, because exiling 2 cards or exiling all of 1 card out of your graveyard is not going to stop your combo one way or another. The redundant Dread Returns mean if they exile your Dread Return target the first time, since you're sacrificing your Poxwalkers to the Dread Return, the Poxwalkers are going to come back before Dread Return resolves, and you can do it again for a different target, whether it's a different Thassa's Oracle, or you can do Lotleth Giant, which when it enters the battlefield deals damage to target opponent equal to the number of creatures in your graveyard. So it kind of acts as like a secondary Belcher to burn your opponent out of the game. In addition to that, you've got a bunch of hate pieces for what your opponent's doing. Fairy Macabres for opposing graveyard decks. Force of Vigor to be able to take down annoying enchantments such as Rest in Peace, Deafening Silence, opposing ley lines, because ley lines are everywhere with how graveyard-centric the format has been. We'll see if that changes since the bannings happened, but I have a feeling it's not really going to change a whole lot there. But I will say the one card in the sideboard that I don't fully understand is Conjurer's Bauble. I think it's kind of another like redundancy sort of thing to be able to hate out on Surgical Extraction and Fairy Macabres and stuff like that. But I'm not 100% sure if that's supposed to be considered part of the package with the Dread Returns, Lotleth Giant, all that stuff. But anyways, this is Oops All Spells. Let's see if we can win without actually having any lands in our deck, and see if WotC made a mistake by not banning something out of this deck in the most recent BNR. I'll catch you all in the wrap-up. Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today. Alright, let's see if not banning this deck was a mistake. This would be great if we had one of our spy effects, but we don't, so we gotta mulligan this. Yeah, we can keep this. We're gonna bottom the Poxwalkers and hope that our opponent doesn't have any counter magic or discard. We will also see if the bannings have actually affected the meta at all. My prediction is not by very much, but I could be wrong. Alright. We got a Tamiya right off of the bat. I'd like another source of fast mana to be able to play around a Daze, or possibly a Pact of Negation to be able to fight through counter magic. We have redundant Undercity Informer. Well, let's cast this, see if we can hit another source of fast mana, get another Spirit Guide. Let's grab another Spirit Guide. This gets us around a Daze at least. Still dies to a Force, but we're going to see how this goes. Let's exile the Spirit Guide that they know about. They don't know about the Simian Spirit Guide. And there's the Daze. Do not have a Force as well, please? Ooh, they had a Force as well. Okay. That does put them down a lot of cards. We have another Informer if we can hit some more mana. And there goes our other Undercity Informer. Okay. This is kind of what I thought would happen as far as the meta is concerned, where you're going to see a lot more blue-black tempo now. It's just not going to have the Reanimator pivot. Some people might still be forcing it, but I like Balustrade Spy. That gives us another shot if we can find mana, and our deck is a good amount of mana, so... However, it is giving our opponent time to try to catch up here. We do have this Cabal Therapy into a Netherglaive. Okay, so the clock is high. Like I said, we just need fast mana. Jack-o'-lantern doesn't really do anything, but we can run it out. It's a redraw later. Alright, so we just need fast mana and quick. Like I said, the Jack-o'-lantern is a redraw. We can shrink their Goyf by 1 with it as well. There's another land, so let's play that. And this is not as a sorcery, so we're good there. So we will probably eat something out of their graveyard next turn, because I don't want to draw when they have a chance to be able to Thoughtseize it away. Alright, we are going to go ahead and let's just eat the Thoughtseize here. Shrink their Goyf by 1. Okay, that's mana. Dark Ritual? Something like that? Do we just go for it is the question, or do we wait a turn? Because they could have counter magic now. They're not doing anything. We will play out the Undercrypt. There's something to be said about waiting until we have another mana to try to do it all at once, but I want to try to be able to go for it next turn. Let's name Force of Will, just so we know what's going on over there. A whole bunch of Baleful or a whole bunch of Orcish Bowmasters and a Baleful Strix. Okay, so we hope we dodge one draw step from the opponent and we can go off. Whatever it wasn't a land. Brainstorm, okay, so they could find counter magic this way now, but I think we just have to go for it. We can't wait any longer. Doesn't look like they found... Okay, they did find a land off of whatever they had. So I think we just go for it. Okay, yeah, I mean, we can get around a Daze. We just go for it. Because they can get back Force of Will next turn. Do they scoop it up? Or are we getting lag here? Don't know. Okay. So we get back Narcomoeba. We will flash back Cabal Therapy, sacking the Narcomoeba. Get our Poxwalkers back. And they scoop it up before they let us see what they ended up drawing there. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is just going to be Dimir tempo, which, like I said, I kind of figure we're going to see a huge uptick of Dimir tempo after the bannings. That being said, what are they going to bring in? They could have Leyline. I feel like a lot of these decks aren't going to be running Leyline, though. They're going to be running stuff like Surgical and Fairy Macabre. So that's kind of what this whole package right here is for, is because there's no 2 cards that a single Fairy Macabre can get rid of out of the graveyard that stop us from being able to do 1 or 2 of these. That being said, I feel like boarding with this deck is fucking atrocious. I feel so weird doing it. I think we're going to take out the Once Upon a Times. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I feel like we're kind of banking on the Goblin Charbelcher backup plan here pretty hard. I think we will trim 1 Undercity Informer just because I feel like a Undercity Informer pass line isn't going to go well, and we'd rather have the ETB from Balustrade Spy, so it leaves a body behind for our Cabal therapies. And feel free to yell at me in the comments if I am boarding this wrong. I am not super familiar with this deck, and being an all-in combo deck like this, anything you board in is going to dilute your combo. Maybe we only need one Dread return instead of the 2 extra Dread returns. That way we have 2 Dread returns total. And yeah, let's try that. Okay, I mean, this is a turn 1 attempt. I am fully expecting this not to work, but we have a bunch of mana left over, and we're going to be on the draw. I think we're going to keep this. Hopefully we can rip like a Cabal Therapy or something off the top. Or if they start off with a discard spell, we rip another one of our spy effects. We managed to dodge a ley line. Like I said, I have no idea if they'd even have ley lines in the deck at the moment. Okay, Netherglyph. A second spy effect would be great, because it actually means we can get through 1 counter. Another Dark Ritual. I think we're just going to try to go for it here. If they got the Force, they got the Force. We can get through days, no problem. Are they going to... Okay, they're going to force the Ritual. 2 forces out of hand. I guess we hope that was their interaction? And it looks like it was. And then Undercity Informer, target us. Sack the Undercity Informer. Get our Narcomoeba back. What? Probably name... pop this out here. Let's get back... I think we want to name Fairy Macabre here, maybe? Always yield to this. And our post goes up. Okay, already on the board. I like it. Let's go. Alright, ignore that record in round 1. I forgot to reset it after my last video. That being said, we are on the play, so let's go. I mean, this is a turn 1 if they don't have interaction, so I guess we're going to keep this. See what our opponent's doing here. See if they're F6. They appear to be. Sacrifice for a bunch of black. Sack Undercity Informer. And mill our entire deck. Getting some pretty bad lag here, but... Alright, bring back Narcomoeba. Cabal Therapy, you. Sacking the Narcomoeba. Get the Poxwalkers back. We will still name Force of Will here. We do have another Cabal Therapy to be able to do this again. They might just scoop so we don't see what they're doing. Alright, and they scoop. Not sure what we're doing here. Okay, again, boarding in the blind. I think we're going to kind of do the same thing we did last round. Just bring in this package so a single piece of Graveyard Hate shouldn't be able to kill us. And then just take out the Once Upon a Times. Like I said, this is really weird if they are on Leyline. We kind of just have to hope that we dodge a Leyline here, but we're going to give this a shot and see how it goes. Alright, we got another turn 1 here. Well, actually, no, this is a turn... No, this is a turn 1. We're going to keep it. We are going to see if our... Okay, we dodged another Leyline. Evolved from the opponent. Okay, so we're up against something blue. This could be Delver. I would love a Force of Negation off at the top here. Well, we'll see. Bogart Trawler. Well, we go for it. Like, we came to ball. Let's see if we can get around to days. See if we can bait them into countering something else, but it doesn't look like it yet. Well, we're going for it. They seem to be letting this go for now. So we're sacking here. This is specifically why we built our pile the way that we did and brought that other stuff in. Alright, our deck is milled. This lag is kind of crazy here. A Surgical Hero on Narcomoeba sucks, but it doesn't end the game on its own. Because we do have the Jack-o'-lantern trick here. Oh, they're gonna Memories Journey. Okay. Okay, that's fine. We can do the Jack-o'-lantern trick here. Exile Jack-o'-lantern to make green. And then we can flashback Memories Journey. I don't think I want to target myself with anything here. Okay, they scoop it up anyways. Cool. I was just trying to think here, because if I put something else on top, if they somehow can remove the Thassa's Oracle, I'm dead. But, alright, yeah, already 2-0. I like it. Okie dokie, lost the die roll. This is unkeepable, so gonna ship it. Turn 1 Spy with Pact of Negation backup. I think we keep this. Let's I was trying to think of what we want to get rid of here. I think we'll get rid of the Spirit Guide. Just so if somehow this goes wrong, we do have an extra mana that sticks around. I like the Pact of Negation backup too. Basic Force from the opponent. And a pass. Okay. Well, we'll see what they're doing here real quick. Undercity Informer. I think we're just going to go for the Spy win here. Play the Boggart Bog. Play out a Petal. Play out the other Petal. Cast Dark Ritual. And play the Spy. And go for the win. Flip our deck into the graveyard. Get back our Narcomoeba. And then we will Cabal Therapy. Sacking the Narcomoeba. Get our Poxwalkers back. Because there's green, I think I'm going to name Endurance. And the opponent scooped it up. Okay. All we saw was basic forest out of our opponent here. I don't even know what to do here. I think we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing we've done the past few games. We've been pretty good about dodging Leyline of the Void so far. So until we see one, I think we're just going to stick with this plan. Once Upon a Time's out, second Dread Return, Lotleth Giant, and a second Thoracle in. And try that. Alright, what do we have here? We have a turn 2, but we're missing a Poxwalkers. I think we're going to keep this since we don't know what our opponent's doing yet. Dodged Leyline again. Oh, it's Nic Fit. Okay. So what do we want to take here? We don't have basics, so we can't ramp. Seeing as it's Nic Fit, there's a part of me that wants to just run this Undercity Informer out and hope that they don't have it. Or we could Cabal Therapy, name like Endurance or something from the opponent, hold on to our stuff, and hope that if they just have one blind Cabal Therapy, they can't name both of our pieces. However, just running out Undercity Informant does the exact same thing. Yeah, I think that's fine. We're just going to run out Undercity Informant here, and then pass the turn, and then just hope that we can pass. Because now, like, a single Cabal Therapy doesn't kill us here. It would need to be Cabal Therapy followed up with something. The question just becomes is, do I want to ramp them this way? I think the answer is no. I don't want to turn on Fatal Push by blocking here. I'll take my 1. Into Disruptor Flu. Okay. Well, I don't have a good way to deal with that, but I'm slowly working my way up to a Spy here. If I hit a Dark Ritual, I can just Spy right now. Okay. We're going to say play that land. I'm just debating if I want a Cabal Therapy now. I could also Cabal Therapy myself to get Poxwalkers in the graveyard, but I want to get a little more information from our opponent here. Being on Nic Fit, what do I want to name out of their hand? I'd like to name... I think I do need to name Cabal Therapy, just because now they actually can get us with it. And they have to blind name a Cabal Therapy here. Fairy Macabre. Ooh, okay, this is interesting. Macabre, Mindbreak Trap, Alpha Deathclaw, and a Boseiju. Okay. Well, Boseiju does stuff too, but it doesn't really change anything here. We also are weirdly winning this race at the moment. Like, they could get us off of a land with Boseiju if they want to, but I don't think it's really going to do much here. But we were correct that their hate was going to be, like, Fairy Macabres and shit. We could also just force the action by sacking the Undercity Informer to... Okay, they drew Lazotep Quarry. That's interesting. So they can ramp, but they can't get anything out yet? Okay. That does set us back a bit. We don't have any basics to grab. But they're choosing not to ramp yet. They're waiting until they can get the Alpha Deathclaw down. Well, we got another one of these. Another Spy, swack in for some. They can ramp next turn to get them up to 5 mana, and then they're 1 away from this Alpha Deathclaw. And that can actually blow up our last land, too, so that's interesting. But we'll see. It just depends on if they draw a land or not. If they draw a land, they're probably going to go for it. Okay, well, they're deciding to ramp here. We don't have any basics, so there's no point in doing this. So we might still want to bring in Artifact Hate for this Disruptor Flu. 5 mana for Green Sun Zenith for 4. So it's Jund Nic Fit. That is definitely interesting. But it's good to know Mindbreak Trap and Fairy Macabre are sideboard cards that they bring in against us, so we can play around that. We also know that they're probably not going to have ley lines. Grabbed a Questing Beast. Okay. So I got to figure this out pretty quickly. They can Alpha Deathclaw next turn if they want to be able to blow up our land. Into a Charbelcher. I don't think we're getting out of this one. But we will see if we can see any more information from our opponent's deck before we go to game 3. Green Sun for 3. For a Leovold. Okay. So I'm dead next turn if I don't have a way to go off here, which I don't think there is a way that I can. Simian Spirit Guide. I suppose I have one more turn if I block with Undercity Informer to try to go for it if I hit exactly Dark Ritual. So we gotta block with Undercity Informer. However, if they hit a land, we're just dead because they can Alpha Deathclaw away our creature. Okay, well, they're not doing that. They might be doing it after, just to blow me off of this land, like sacrifice Leovold, get their mana. Well, no, that doesn't ramp them either. Okay, exactly Dark Ritual? Pact of Negation. Okay. So there's something to be said about maybe bringing in Artifact Hate to take out Disruptor Flute, but I don't think it's worth diluting our plan for here. We just rely more on the Balustrade Spies instead, so I think we're just going to run it back. Alright, let's see if we can get a protected turn 1 here. This is 1 mana away from being able to go off, and I can go ahead and turn 1, Fell the Profane, Cabal Therapy, target the opponent. Gotta hope that I can hit a land. I think we'll keep this. It's a little wonky. They also can't turn 1 Disruptor Flute us here. If I were to just like run out Undercity Informer on 1. I think we're just going to run out Undercity Informer here. They can't get 2 mana on turn 1 to be able to go off with Disruptor Flute and stop this. And this gets around Mindbreak Trap as well. They could have some kind of removal spell on 1, but we have the Jack-o'-lantern for a redraw. So I'm not super sure how they get out of this. Okay, Nurturing Peatland. It is a little awkward that the Jack-o'-lantern is in our hand. And we hit a Balustrade Spy. So how does this go wrong exactly? So we can Cabal Therapy to try to clear the way. That way we have a spell to be able to cast out of the graveyard. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do here. Let's Cabal Therapy. Let's name Disruptor Flute. See what they got going on over here. Maybe we should have just gone for it. Okay, cool. So we did hit the Disruptor Flute. Fairy Macabres are mostly fine. They have 2 of them, though, so that's a little annoying. Let's get in for our damage here. If we could hit another land, that would be great. Alright, they just play out the Boseiju. I would not mind our other Cabal Therapy here. And I might try to play this a little on the slow side here. There's Athos' Oracle. Yeah, I think we're going to play this on the slow side to try to be able to play around more stuff here. Because what this allows us to do is, if we hit another land, we can sacrifice Jack-o'-lantern to be able to flashback Memory's Journey from the graveyard. We are definitely playing on borrowed time here, but another land would be great. Or an Elvish Spirit God. I suppose that works as well. Alright, so we can do this. And then what? We can sacrifice the Jack-o'-lantern. We're not going to flash anything back into their deck. Draw a card. We hit a Lotus Petal. I don't hate that. And then we are going to go ahead and try to go off here. I think this works, because we have mana to be able to activate Jack-o'-lantern here. So, I mean, I guess the color we add here doesn't really matter. And now we see what they do. Because we got to get through 2 Fairy Macabres. See if they go after the Okay, so they're going to go after Narcomoeba, Thassa's Oracle. So what we want to do is Jack-o'-lantern. Actually, we don't even need to Jack-o'-lantern. We can just flash back Memory's Journey. And we will target ourselves. Because what? This is up to 3 cards, or is it up to 2? Hold on. Memory's Journey. Shuffles up to 3 cards. Okay. So we will Memory's Journey. We will Put back Dark Ritual, Lion's Eye Diamond, and probably another Dark Ritual, if I can find one, and another Dark Ritual. And this gets our Poxwalkers out over the first Fairy Macabre. They could take 2 of them if they want. Or they could try to go after the stuff that we're trying to put back in our library. Alright, they're gonna Fairy Macabre. Are they targeting the same 2 things? Yes. Okay. But I have a Lotleth Giant to kill them. Because it has no targets anymore. I did bring a Lotleth Giant, right? Hold on a second. Yeah, Lotleth Giant is in there. Okay, I'll put that stuff back on top. That's fine. Where is my Lotleth Giant and all of this shit? There it is, okay. This fizzles. Yes, use an Archimedes ability. And then we just get back Lotleth Giant? Like, we still just die to an Endurance, but they shouldn't have one? I mean, I guess we can do this just to be safe. We get it back anyways. Maybe we name Mindbreak Trap? Okay, there's a Mindbreak Trap. See if they've got another one by chance? Name Mindbreak Trap? Like, I'm just confused what can screw us over here. Ooh, they do have an Endurance. That's annoying. But we have Lethal on the Crackback in theory? I guess I should have named that, but whatever. Dread Return, grab Lotleth Giant. They seem to be screwing this up. So we'll see if they actually do it this time. It looks like no. Why are they not Endurancing? Okay. They should have Enduranced. But, I mean, I'll take it. I don't know why they didn't pitch cast Endurance there. I mean, we were probably going to win in 2 more turns anyways, but they could have Enduranced with the Poxwalkers on the stack to get rid of them as well. So, that was a pump by our opponent, but, I mean, I'll take it to lock in our positive record. On to the next one. Alright, won the die roll, positive record's locked. Let's go. This is unkeepable. We gotta ship this. Doesn't really do anything. We can keep this. I think we put Jack-o'-lantern back. Because this is potentially a turn 1, if not a turn 2, and a reattempt. So we'll put Jack-o'-lantern back. And we will start out with Once Upon a Time. A bunch of Spirit Guides. So we can try to go for a turn 1 here. Or at least play Undercity Informer on 1. And try to pass the turn after that. Or we can wait until next turn and try to go for all of it. I think we will wait for next turn. It's a little risky, but I think we're going to give it a shot. Swamp, Lotus Petal. Okay, Cabal Therapy. They can only hit one of our payoffs here, and the other one will stay in hand unless they have a way to flash back Cabal Therapy. Oh! They are doing themselves. Okay. Honestly, cannot say I was doing that. What, it's at the end of each end step? Okay. So we are up against a fellow combo player. I don't know if we can come back from this. I mean, theoretically we can, but apparently we should have run out more of our hand. Yeah, we'll go to the next one. Okay, so we're up against an all-in Reanimate deck. It's good to see these coming back. Luckily, we do have some play against that. Being in mono black, they probably have Leyline. So we are going to bring in our Fairy Macabres, our Force of Vigors. Now here's the fun part, is figuring out what to do from here. Trim an Informer, trim a Spy, trim a Belcher. I don't think we need to worry about counter magic, so let's get rid of the packs. And let's try that. Alright, we're going to see if they have Leylines. We're going to feel really, really fucking foolish. I don't think we can keep this. Let's mulligan it. So, if we had a payoff, this would be great. This is relatively Thoughtseize proof, though. I think we still gotta go deeper. We have Macabres, we have a bunch of mana. I'm just trying to think if we should keep this. I think we're gonna keep this. Put back the Trawler and a Bog. And trust that we draw a Spy effect or some kind of hate. This pause is making me think that, well, they mull to 5 as well. So I don't know if they're mulliganing for a ley line or if they're trying to find their own turn 1 nut draw here, but hopefully we have their turn 1 nut draw covered. Alright, no ley line. We are just going to play out Boggart Bog for now. And like I said, trust that we can find a spy. We didn't take... Did we take out a Once Upon a Time? I don't think we did. No. So Once Upon a Time is still a live draw to go find one, which is specifically why I didn't play out the Lotus Petal, just to be safe. Into a Dothy Voidwalker, okay. And unmasking me, okay. Well, this seems like the nightmare matchup. This might be where our 5-0 dreams end, but we'll see. We don't really have any kind of answer for a Dothy Voidwalker. But we do have, whatchamacallit, Goblin Charbelcher. They took our persistent mana, which is understandable, and now they know about the Fairy Macabre. Well, there's the Charbelcher, so if we can get one more mana and run out this Charbelcher, then we just have to find mana to be able to activate it. And being a mono black, I think they're going to have a very hard time dealing with a Charbelcher unless they happen to be a build that also has Disruptor Flutes in it. Okay, there's a Dark Ritual. It's a Dothy Voidwalker number 2. Okay, so I need to find mana, and I need to find it fast. A silly-looking Force of Vigor, okay. So this is a 3-turn clock. Oh, into a Thoughtseize? Okay, yep. There goes Charbelcher. So now we have to find one of our 2 remaining Charbelchers to be able to go off. Oh, there's a Lion's Eye Diamond. That's part of the way there, but I've got 1 draw step, and I don't think I have any way to get there from there, because I also can't block these things. I'm not sure which one of these decks is more all-in graveyard. Probably us, but yeah, double Dothy Voidwalker is pretty hard. Yeah, into a Poxwalkers, and we're dead. Okay, the 5-0 dream dies there, but let's see if we can go grab a 4-1 in the next round. Alright. Alright, final round. Won the die roll. Let's go. This is 1 mana away from being able to go off next turn with protection. I think we're going to keep this. We're basically just waiting on 1 mana here, so we will run out our Lotus Petals and hope that we draw mana and our opponent doesn't have discard. We do have the Charbelcher in hand as well, in case we have to pivot onto that. Okay, Lion's Eye Diamond from the opponent. What are they doing over there? Something else unfair. Oh, they're playing Dredge. Okay. They did hit Dredgers, and now they can Cabal Therapy our entire hand away. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go to the next one before we show them any more information. Alright, up against Dredge. 2 graveyard decks back to back and 2 against each other. The good news is they shouldn't have counter magic. That being said, I think we want to bring in Fairy Macabres. I don't know. They have Leyline. They might bring it in, but they might think that we are an artifact combo deck, so I'm not totally sure if I want to take them out. I think I want to take out the Once Upon a Times here, and if they happen to bring in Leylines in the blind, so be it. They might think we're some, like I said, they might think we're some kind of artifact combo deck, but we're going to take a calculated risk here. We'll see. As I've said before, I'm not good at sideboarding with this deck at all. Alright. No mana. So we got to ship this. I probably should have taken out the Pact Negations now that I think about it. This is a turn 1 Charbelcher. So I think we're going to keep this and bin the Pact. And this does get around Mindbreak Trap. However, it dies pretty hard to a Force of Negation if that's what they have. And we're just going to hope they don't have it. And then hope we either find fast mana next turn or we can survive 2 turns to belch them. And that they don't have a Force of Negation or a Force of Vigor of their own. Alright, no Force of Vigor yet. Unfortunately, our lands are Thoughtseizable. So if they have some kind of crazy turn 1 like they did last time. Okay, doesn't look like it yet. Fast mana? Shenanigans? No, into the Flood Maw. Okay. Well, we have a fish now. And we have a backup plan. We just gotta hit mana. Which, I mean, we're close to doing. So I guess we'll see where this goes. Another piece of fast mana and we can go off again. Okay, they're Faithless Looting without a Dredger in the yard. But they put 2 Golgari Grave Trolls in the yard. Okay, they're gonna get to Dredge a bunch. Okay, so far, no Cabal therapies. Okay, yeah, no Cabal therapies, so we're safe for now. If we can get fast mana, oh, okay. They're gonna get to go again. I'm still not seeing Cabal therapies yet. Still no Cabal therapies. And two Cabal therapies. Okay, we're dead. Yeah, we're super dead here, because they can take two of our payoffs. I mean, they have to blind name. Oh, they know about the Goblin Charbelcher, so they're just gonna take that. I mean, I suppose we're not technically dead yet. Yep, took the Charbelcher. They can now take the Balustrade Spy as well. Or they can take our Fel the Profane. We'll see what they take. They might take the land, but I think they're going to take the Spy. Because we're just a fast mana piece away. Yeah, they took the Spy. I suppose if we hit an Undercity Informer, we can... Actually, no, we're just dead on the Crackback, aren't we? There was a... Oh, it's Dread Return for... What did they target? Oh, a Golgari Grave Troll? Yeah, we're super fucking dead now. And there was a land to be able to do it. Okay, yeah, I mean, we lost to two other all-in combo decks that use the graveyard, and they just happen to have a faster start than we did, but hey, we managed to still put up a pretty easy 3-2 if we're being completely honest, and this is probably my fastest league to date, so score one for Magic Speedruns, but yeah, we'll just all that in the wrap-up. So at the end of the league, we started off with a very strong start and kind of fizzled out at the end there against some other opposing graveyard combo decks. That being said, as you can see, this deck is blazing fast. It definitely feels much more consistent and much more resilient than previous iterations of this deck. And I really like the versatility that this particular build brings to the table, being able to choose between Charbelcher, or being able to go with the Lotless Giant line. So I definitely think Oops is a much, much stronger deck than it used to be. That being said, I still don't feel like Oops itself is problematic. There are multiple ways to fight through it and interact with it. I still stand by my assessment that the rise of Oops was a symptom of problems with the format as a whole, and not that Oops itself is too powerful. I understand the logic of people don't like the non-games that it creates, but I mean, that's Legacy in general, whether it's against a prison deck or it's up against a combo deck, like, it's just part of what the format is, and as long as you have ways to interact with these decks that can theoretically win on turn one, I don't think they themselves are a problem, but I know that's kind of a contentious opinion, but that's just my take on the issue. But yeah, the deck was a ton of fun. I have seen some other versions running around that instead of having a more resilient graveyard package in the sideboard, they actually can transition into a creature beatdown plan, and that might be something I play in a future episode or something. But overall, the deck was strong. It was a blast to play. I hope you all had as much fun watching as I did playing it. I will catch you all in the next one, and as always, stay salty. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. There are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel, covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.